Story name: The Cry Behind the Chapel, a Tennessee church mystery. Nestled in the rolling hills of rural Tennessee lies a weathered, wooden church known as Hollow Creek Chapel. Built in the early 1900s, it stands at the edge of the woods, far from town, where only the brave or the faithful venture. Most locals avoid it after sunset. They whisper about strange noises, cries of wind, whispers within, and shadows that shouldn't move. 34-year-old Evan Miller had just moved into a nearby cabin, a freelance writer chasing peace and inspiration. Evan was drawn to quiet town and its untouched beauty. He was also intrigued by the stories about the church. Some said a little girl had died during a storm there in 1956, and others claimed she never left. One Sunday afternoon, while hiking, Evan found himself standing before the chapel. Despite its age, the structure seemed solid. Its windows were dusty, the bell tower crooked, and the doors slightly ajar. Curiosity pushed him forward. He stepped inside. The air was cold, unnaturally cold. The pews were lined in perfect rows, untouched by time. Dust floated like snowflakes through the air. As he walked down the aisle, the wooden floor creaked beneath him. It was quiet, too quiet. At the front of the chapel was a podium. Beside it, a door led to the back room. Evan slowly opened it. The room was small, with olden books stacked in a corner and a broken piano, collecting cobwebs. But what caught his eye was a child's drawing pinned to the wall. It was faded but still visible. A little girl, standing beneath the chapel's bell, her face scribbled out. Suddenly, a soft cry echoed through the chapel. Evan froze. It was faint, like the sound of a child weeping. He stepped back into the main hall, heart pounding. "Hello," he called out. No answer. The crying grew louder. He followed the sound to the back of the church, near a trapdoor in the floor. It was slightly open, revealing a staircase leading down into darkness. "Don't be stupid," he told himself. "This is how people die in stories." But curiosity outweighed fear. He turned on his phone's flashlight and began his descent. The air grew colder with every step. The walls were lined with stone, the ground damp. At the bottom, he entered a small cellar with cracked stone walls and wooden beams holding the ceiling. In the corner, he saw a rocking chair, rocking by itself, and beside it, a girl, no older than 7. She sat with her back to him. Her hair was black and tangled, and she wore a white dress soaked to the hem. She was crying softly. "Are you okay?" Evan asked, voice trembling. She stopped rocking. The girl turned her head slightly, just enough for him to see her face, or the lack of one. Where her features should have been was a flat, smooth surface like polished porcelain. Evan stumbled back, dropping his phone. The light flickered. The girl stood up, slowly. The room seemed to breathe with her. "You shouldn't be here," she whispered. Her voice was both childlike and hollow, like it came from a deep well. Suddenly, the air around him dropped to freezing. The walls began to shake. The trapdoor above slammed shut with a bang. Evan scrambled for the stairs, tripping and crawling until he reached the top. He pushed against the door. It wouldn't budge. He could hear her footsteps below, slow and deliberate. Then silence. The trapdoor opened easily. He burst out of the church, not daring to look back. That night, he couldn't sleep. Every time he closed his eyes, he saw her faceless head turning. The next morning, Evan went to the local diner and spoke to an older woman named Martha. When he told her what he saw, her face went pale. "She's still there?" she asked quietly. "I thought, after the blessing, she'd moved on." "Who is she?" Evan asked. Her name was Lily. She died in the storm of 56. Got trapped in the cellar during a sermon. When they found her, she'd scratched the walls raw trying to get out. "Why doesn't she have a face?" Martha hesitated. Some say her soul never formed fully. Others think she doesn't want to be remembered. Evan left town a week later. He never wrote about the story. But on quiet nights, when the wind is still, the people of Hollow Creek say they can still hear her crying behind the chapel.